Keystone Gabriel in the Kentucky Futurity.
But there was still Handle with Care. Here, in the first heat of the Lexington Filly Stake, Bill Haughton holds off the determined stretch challenge of Handle with Care's arch rival, Joanna's Time, to win the mile in a swift 1 minute, 58 seconds. Then, in another of his masterful training moves, Bill Haughton withdraws Handle with Care from the second heat of the stake. Instead, with his filly fired up for a major effort, he sends her after a world record in a trial against time, with galloping prompters urging her on. Handle with Care responds with the fastest mile by a filly in the history of the sport. An amazing 1 minute, 54 and 2/5 seconds time trial effort. Bill Haughton went on to win the $151,000 Messenger Stake at Roosevelt Raceway in New York with Armbro Omaha. And Peters scored the greatest victory of his career on the opposite coast in the Western Pace at Hollywood Park, guiding Handle with Care to a world record race mile for fillies in 1 minute, 54 and 4/5 seconds. Then following that up by winning the American Pacing Classic with Keystone Smarty. With some $21 million won by horses he has driven, and with his 20-year-old son launched on a successful career of his own, Bill Haughton obviously is something very special in harness racing. What makes him that way? Three of his closest friends and fellow drivers give their ideas. First, Del Miller.
One thing that makes Billy great is he relaxes. He plays hard and he works hard. And when Billy quits driving the horse in the evening until he starts the next day, he don't worry about it. And relax, warming up a horse and everything else. That makes a great sportsman, I think. Oh, he's great. He makes the right moves at the right time. Very seldom see Billy drive a bad race. I say he's a relaxed person, and he's going to drive and live forever.
Howard Beisinger gives his views.
There's a lot to be said for Billy. I think we all are knowledgeable enough to know what it takes to be a good horseman. But Billy is much more than that. He's got a strong constitution. He's a good businessman, and he can tolerate any type of an owner, which is a big job to do at times. And he drives a good race. As many races he drives, I think he has less contact and less interference than anybody I know. He's a good, clean competitor. And besides that, he's a gentleman.
And George Schulte sums it up.
Has a tremendous constitution and a will. He's dedicated to the horse business. He has a fine eye for a yearling. He's an excellent race driver, tremendous trainer. He is what I call a full-fledged horseman. Billy Haughton is Billy Haughton, and he is the man.
Bill Haughton's own reactions to the phenomenal season are most natural. Pride in his horses, intense pride in his son. He tells how he brought Peter along.
And, of course, he's been around horses all his life. He's ridden since he was about 3, and then he started as a groom when he was 12. And he groomed horses for 4 years, and then when he was 16, he went to the Pennsylvania Fair Circuit with some 2-year-olds and 1 3-year-old. And he was there for 2 years before he drove the pari-mutuel track. Well, I'm very glad that he likes it, and I'm glad he's able to do so well. I'd hate to see him come up and not be able to handle himself. I think he's done really great, more than I ever expected.
As for Peter, there is no question in his mind about his future. He is convinced horses are his life.
I've been convinced since I was about 4 years old. I never knew how good I'd be, but I always just wanted to be as good as my ability would allow me. And of course, I'm a great believer that there's a lot of luck in this sport, and that you got to be in the right place at the right time. Fortunately, I've been on the right horses at the right time this year. I myself would rather be considered a good horseman than a good race driver. I think that's one of the greatest compliments a person can have in this business, is to be considered an all-around horseman.
Peter and Bill Haughton, present and future champions. Harness racing's great green wave.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very happy and a Merry Christmas to you. To make it really happy and merry, make sure you drive safely and carefully. There's nothing merry about a crash.